economy. We're seeing their currency plummet. Now, what aid donors keep reiterating is that there's need for economic reforms. The IMF has also stated that it will redouble its efforts, but only if there are enough reforms. What type of reforms are needed for Lebanon at this point?
I think what Lebanon needs is a complete restructuring of its economy. The IMF has been involved for quite some time trying to negotiate a possible 10 billion aid package. Well, of course, that isn't going to be sufficient now, given the destruction that we've just seen. But also, if you're looking at achieving some sort of sustainable growth for the future, the whole economy and the foundations of the Lebanon really need to change. Because the interesting thing is that for a long time, the country was receiving quite a lot of revenues as remittances from people who worked, from Lebanese workers who worked in the Gulf. Of course, that had gone down quite significantly because of the oil price coming down. They also had quite a lot of tourism. That tourism, of course, has suffered because of the fights that have been taking place in the region more generally, and the general political uncertainty that has been around the Middle East. They've also had a pressure from Syrian refugees. Very substantial number of Syrian refugees have been coming and in some ways also taking jobs. People are saying in the informal economy from Lebanese workers. Unemployment had risen very significantly. And the real fundamental problem had also been that the currency was pegged to the dollar, with the result that at that level, the Lebanese economy was very uncompetitive. It encouraged a lot of imports from elsewhere, with the result that, of course, there was very little productive investment that was going into the economy. Since that peg was lifted of sorts back at the end of 2019 or in the autumn of 2019, we've seen the informal rate plummet very significantly. So instead of 1,500 to the dollar, it was more like 7,500 to the dollar. So there were parallel currencies, basically, or parallel rates being used. And also, of course, we've had the serious problems of